everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I'd talk to you about products that I have changed my mind on. So that is either products that I used to hate but have learnt how to use them, or just got to know them better, you know, understood them a bit better, or products that I used to love or initially loved and have fallen out of love and now do not love. So one way or another I've changed my mind, either good to bad or bad to good. So let's get started. First thing is the Becca Champagne Pop. I'll open it. I don't know if I'm so scared. This is the problem with this. So you can see it's a massive mess in the pan, and the reason for that is it fell out, just fell out. I did not drop this, I did not harm it. I have been scared ever since I bought this of even it leaving my bedroom. I would never travel with this, never take it anywhere, never even take it out my bedroom. But I decided to film with it one day. I'm going to use one to demonstrate that I'm a bit more secure with. So let's imagine this is my champagne pop. So I was filming with it one day, I held it up like this and it just fell out and smashed on my table. That happened. So yes, I was heartbroken. I did the whole, you know, Pinterest, put it back together with some rubbing alcohol thing, and it has worked, but it stinks. It stinks. It's also, you know, a bit bitty, it's sort of coming off and it doesn't look very pretty in the pan, and I'm just, you know, I'm now scared of it. I love it, I've got it on today, it's beautiful. It does massively highlight my texture, massively. But it is a very pretty highlighter, and I loved it when I first got it. But I just can't deal with a product that is that stressful, that at any given moment that just commits suicide out of its pan and ruin my life. Next up, the Coloured Rain liquid lipstick. So this is in the shade Classy, and this is the first liquid lip I ever bought. I loved it, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was amazing that it stayed on. I could eat a meal and it was on and it was there. And then I started buying more liquid lipsticks, and I realised I don't like these anymore, because now I know about Huda liquid lipsticks, I know about Jeffree Star, and I know about Dose of Colours, and all of those brands' formulas are just so much more comfortable. Like literally by the end of the day when I've had this on, my lips will be like coming off, not the lipstick, my lips will be coming off, flaking, just peeling off, just literally saying, get out of here. That's what they're saying, because they are so drying, really drying, and they give you, you like butthole lip, you know what I mean, they give you that. Next up, a good result. So this is the Nars blush in the shade Sin. Again, one of the very first blushes I bought before I knew what I liked in a blush. So now all of my blushes are either like a very, you know, neutral beigey type of blush, or a peach blush, those sorts of shades of blushes. And this is obviously very different from that. This is quite a deep plum shade. So it's just sat in my drawer for like months and months. I never reached for it. And then I went on holiday. And the reason I took this one with me was literally because I didn't even care about it that much. Like I thought, if it smashes or it breaks or I lose it, I won't care. That's why I took this one. And I used it every day on holiday. And literally, when I'm a bit tanned, this shade is everything. It's mega, like, glowy, it's mega pigmented, it's buttery on the skin, particularly on tan skin. It's just this gorgeous, almost like bronzy plum shade. It's just everything with like a bronzy, golden look. It's just, it's lovely, it's smoky, it's sexy, it's everything. And now I'm not afraid of it because it looks different to all my other blushes. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I love it and I reach for it all the time now. It's a real like night out blush for me. I have it on today actually. Next up, now this was a mega turnaround. So this is the MAC Mineralize Skin Finish Natural in the shade Light. Now that is like looking, I mean, I was gonna say it looks white on the camera, but it does essentially look white in the pan as well. Really, really light. So I bought this because Chloe Boucher, is it Boucher or Boucher? I'm not sure, but she is this gorgeous Irish YouTuber. She was raving about this and she used it for like setting her under eye or her concealer, so under her eyes, you know, and down the bridge of your nose, all those places where you set concealer. And I thought it was such a good idea because it's such a light powder, and it's being a mineralized skin finish, it has that bit of coverage. So it would help you with a bit of coverage in those places, really brighten up all those areas. And the problem I had at first is I just found it so cakey, really emphasised my fine lines under my eyes, creasy, just a mess, a hot mess. And I was initially putting it on like with a beauty blender, so I'd get my blender and like rub it in there and press it in. And then I started to use a brush instead, like an under eye setting brush, and a really light hand, just literally dabbing it in, tapping off the excess and then pressing. And now I love it. It's lovely, it stays all day, it really brightens up the under eye area so that if your concealer is not as light as you'd like it to be, that will really help. And what I massively love it for is that I'm really guilty of like my bronzer and my blush coming too close to the center of my face and like looking muddy, or just, you know, being too far in and kind of bringing my facial features in. And you can really use this to sort of like push that all back. So if you've gone too high with something or too far in, and you can sort of go in with this over the top and just tone it all down, you know, if anything's got a bit crazy. It's such a multitasker. I really enjoy it. It's a beautiful consistency, so soft. And now I know how to get the best out of it. I love it. I didn't expect to be losing my love for the Benefit Goof Proof. When I first got this, I loved it because it was just such a good angle and a really fine, sharp point to get like a really nice tail, draw a really fine line around the brow. The trouble is, it's only like that for about 3 uses, and then it gets really like sort of curved. I don't know if you can see it now. It's quite curved and soft. It's lost its sharp edge, and these are self-sharpening. So if you wind them back in, eventually you can hear it starts to click, and that's supposed to be sharpening it, but it doesn't make any difference on mine. Either mine's broken or it's just useless. But yeah, it doesn't make any difference. It comes out exactly the same, and it has never been as sharp as it was initially, and so now it's just too soft. Everything looks a bit smudgy, and it just isn't as clean anymore. So I don't love you anymore. Next up, the Better Than Sex mascara. So this is a quite recent purchase for me. I had this in one of my haul videos not so long ago, and I only bought the mini size, which is a good thing because it's money down the drain. Now this is a hard one for me because I love this when it's on my lashes. Literally, I put it on and it's so big and fluffy and volumized. They look like false lashes. Gorgeous. I love it. I also find it really easy to apply. I don't feel like I'm always, you know, touching. The wand is a really good shape and size to not touch, you know, your lid or your under eye area. Brilliant. And then you look in the mirror an hour later and this stuff is everywhere. Literally, I did not know what had happened. So the first time I used it, I was going about my day and I was like, looking in the mirror, what has happened? Panda eyes, all under here, panda eyes, smudged all under my lower eyelid. Ridiculous. And it was this, it had just smudged and transferred all up under my lower lash line. And also I find like taking off, that's the good thing about this, it's so easy to take off, much easier than my Maybelline Lash Sensational, which is quite work to get off, but this is like really easy to come off, but obviously that doesn't help when you don't want it to come off. So I also find that by the end of the day it's up on my eyelid, it's down here, and it stings when it gets in my eyes as well. It really irritates my eyes, like there's just something, it itches my eyes. It's not good for me. It didn't work out. Next up, my Guerlain Terracotta Ultra Shine Bronzer. So when I first bought this, I thought someone played some kind of cruel joke on me because I was like putting on an absolute ton of it and couldn't see it. Smells so beautiful of holiday. It looks beautiful, it smells beautiful, and someone put it on me at the counter and I was like, I have to have it because it just, my skin just glowed and looked so luminous and beautiful all day. But then I went on holiday and I bought it when I got back, and I literally, the first few times I put it on, I was like, where is it? Where's my bronzer? But now that I'm starting to lose my tan, I haven't touched this barely since I got it because it doesn't show up on me. Now I'm starting to go into like my winter shading. I was like, come October, this will be my favorite bronzer because it is so glowy. It is unfortunately limited edition, but you can still get it. Places like Debenhams, they still have stock. So I will show you it now. I'm gonna have to go really heavy-handed for it to show up at all on my skin, because I'm still a bit tan. So you can just see it here. It's very subtle at the moment. It's really glowy. Just try and let you see in the light there how glowy it is. So once I'm a bit paler, it's just looks so pretty and subtle, but right now, it doesn't show up very well. It's literally for an NC25 or fairer. After that, don't bother. This stuff, the Naked Skin Urban Decay Concealer. I've changed my mind on this 46 times. So I first bought this because Jaclyn Hill loved it. This was back in the day. I thought it was all right, but I much preferred the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I didn't feel like I got that much coverage out of this. But then I started to like blend it in with a brush instead of a beauty blender, and I really felt like suddenly I get what people are seeing. I get it. It's like much nicer with a brush on me. Gave a lot more coverage with a brush. But you know, I just don't want to apply concealer with a brush. It doesn't look as good. It's not as easy. It like blends too far. I just want to put it on and blend it in, not blend it out, which you kind of have to do with a brush. And I also find that a lot of products don't work with it. Like a lot of foundations don't like it. A lot of powders and highlights don't really blend that nicely on top of it. It always ends up going funny down the bridge of my nose, like almost coming off. If your beauty blender is not almost dry, I find like it sort of almost separates or takes it away, like it doesn't like a damp beauty blender. I never hear anyone else saying any of this stuff, so maybe it's my fault, but I just don't get on with it. I've tried so many times to love you, but this time it's unforgivable. I'm not repurchasing it ever again. Next up, another sad loss in the beauty community, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude Water Fresh. So this is the lighter double wear version, the newer Estee Lauder foundation. So I'm so up and down on this foundation. When I first used it, I really quite liked it. I think in my review, my first impressions, I quite liked it, but wasn't blown away by it. Basically, I had better. Then over the course of the next few weeks, I started to love it. And now I've started to not like it again. I'm all over the place. I don't know what my final thoughts are going to be. The issue I have is it sometimes comes off quite cakey when it's supposed to be a lightweight foundation. It doesn't feel heavy, but it looks it. It looks like you've got foundation on. It looks cakey. And I think the problem is one, it doesn't have a pump. You can buy a pump now, but I don't really want to have to spend £5 for something that should be attached to my bottle. I feel like if I was to buy a car without windscreen wipers, and then I have to pay extra for the windscreen wipers, because it's all well and good most of the time. Yeah, sure, I can drive my car without windscreen wipers, but when it rains, I need the windscreen wipers. I shouldn't have to buy them separate. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Anyway, rant over. The problem is you can't get the right amount out. So you're wasting a lot. And I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see on camera. I'm down to like here, like a third of the way through the bottle, and I feel like I've hardly used it because I don't reach for it that often. It's not my favorite. I've used it like, I feel like 10 times, and almost a third of the bottle has gone. And I probably even haven't used it that many times, 5 or 6 times for a third of the bottle to get it go. If I was using this every day, it would be gone in a couple of months, and I feel like that is, you're not getting enough for your money. And I think the reason that's happening is it's so watery. If you're using a sponge, it's going to soak all of it up, and if you're using a brush, it's going to disappear into the bristles. You know, you squeeze it on and it's just gone. So then if you want to use like a palette, but then it's going to run all over the palette because it's like basically putting water on a palette, So I just can't control this bad boy. I can't control it. I don't know what the answer is. If you know the answer, maybe to use a little bowl, tiny little bowl, that would help. But I think that's the problem, is generally I'm putting too much on because I can't control this stuff. I can't control it. So I'm back and forth. I still haven't settled on a final decision, but I don't think we're going to be friends forever. This is a controversial one. And you can see I haven't used that much, but that's mainly because it's expensive and I'm a cheapskate. So when I first got this, I knew about all the problems that people talked about. Lots of people were saying, you know, it feels like you've been shot. It's too heavy of a mist, it leaves spots on your face, all these kinds of issues. But I also had seen lots of reviews where people said it's fine, it just does that for the first few uses and then it's okay, so just do a few sprays over there and you'll be good. Also the importance of shaking it, because as you can see it is a white liquid, it's not clear like Fix Plus, it's creamy of a liquid, so it is gonna have some colour, so you do need to shake it to mix everything together before you spritz, or you will get white dots. So I knew all of this, so I was prepared. However, I did kind of have issues with it, so I did give it a few test sprays over there, and then it was fine. But then after a while it started to spit at me again, and then a lot of the time I'll spray it and I don't think it's getting to my face, because when I have my Fix Plus, I'm like this, you know when you see people Fix Plus and they're like over here. This stuff I have found, you need to spray it close. So what I do with this to make it work, I shake it a lot, hard, and then you have to spray all the way down. I'm not going to spray because I can't get liquid near my eyebrows because I've just had them done. But you have to spray and push it all the way down, not just a little tap. Spray a full compressor of the pump, that's what I'm going to say. And do it more like here, because it is then such a fine mist that you can almost not feel it. The majority of it is a very fine mist. If I hold it over here is when I feel like droplets land, but if I hold it here, I feel like it's perfect mist. I feel like it's refreshed my makeup. It looks really beautiful and dewy. It definitely extends the life of my makeup, and I don't have any problems now with droplets now that I'm doing it closer up, giving it a good shake and fully pressing down. I love it. I think it's really nice, and I think it's really overrated. I think it's really underrated because people haven't found the sort of knack. But then also I feel like, can you not just make products easy to use, please? It shouldn't be that hard, should it? Next up, the Nars liquid blush. Now you can see how much of this I've used, and again, I don't use it every day. It's just to sort of here, which isn't it's not like it's gone, but I'd say it's about a quarter of the way through. I haven't used it that often. What can I say? I do quite like it. I do feel like you get a lot of product for your money. This is like half a fluid ounce, so half the size of a foundation, which obviously for blush is a lot. So I do feel like you get a lot of product for your money. But it's just not, it's too hard work, you know. You get a normal blush, you get your brush, you whack it in, you're done. With this, you have to squirt it onto something first, either the back of your hand or a tray, and then you either have to use your finger and get it all over yourself and pat it on, and even then it's a bit hard to sort of blend in. And you know, I only really like to use it before powder, so that kind of causes you a problem with bronzer and stuff like that. Yeah, I just don't feel like it's special enough to make up for the fact that it's a little trickier to use than a powder blush. And it's generally more expensive than powder blush as well, if you see what I mean. So yeah, at first I loved the gorgeous packaging and it is a beautiful shade, and I got really excited because it was all new and it was going to last me 16 years. But now I'm just like, I just don't think it's worth the hassle. I've got lazy is what it is. Last up, the iconic drops. And I guess these kind of speak for all liquid highlights because they're a struggle. They are just more complicated to deal with than a powder, I think. But I think also the way that I've seen people using these, they are this metallic unicorn highlight. But as I've been using these and getting used to these, one, I was scared of them at first. scared to use them, didn't really know how to use them, didn't really know what I was doing. And now I've used them quite a lot of times, I've found my flow, and I found the best way to use these is to drop on the back of your hand, literally the tiniest little drop, and then I'll get it with my finger and just sort of blend it out, and I dab it on. And I think initially what I was doing was trying to put it on with the dropper, and I just found that it left dots that you couldn't blend out. I also found that it literally just was so blinding. It was like not for me, because I prefer like a natural highlight. But you just see, you can just make it as natural or as blinding as you want by just continuing to blend or by using less. And now that I've kind of got the hang of it, it is just like you get so much for your money. They can be toned up or down so easily. They blend easily on top of powders. They, you know, work with like your lips. You can put them over the top as like a topper to give you that little bit of glow on your lips. You put them anywhere, and they are so pretty, and I feel like they'll literally last me a lifetime. So although I was very scared of them at first, very unsure if they were worth the effort, now I get it. I do get it. And that is it. I don't think I've got anything left. Those are the products that I've either learnt to love or grown to hate, depending on which one they were. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what product you've changed your mind on down below and why, or if any of yours are the same as mine, or if you had a different experience to me with any of these products, because as we know, they all work differently on different people. But otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe so I can see you again. Take care for now. Bye 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 bye.